Thanks, Basil. I just want to give you a bit of an insight into the Saturday afternoon team. We're a bunch of unique individuals.
Hello and welcome to episode 30 of the Unique Individuals podcast. Good to have all the boys alongside me once again. We've got Hugo. How you going, mate?
Yeah, no, good to be here, boys.
We've got Jackson and Connor on one screen. How you going, guys?
How's it going, mate? It should be a ripper of an app, and sun is shining, or something like that. But yeah, no, life's good. So
No, I don't think sun's shining, but it's good to be here and good to be in the same room again. It's good to be back, not in studio, but the makeshift studio.
And Blair?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to be in the same room as I grew up in because I'm not with you, boys, so obviously, yeah, back home. But no, looking forward to the app.
No, good stuff. We'll get straight into it then. Let's start with Blair because I think you're the last one to talk. You had a concert during the week, which obviously a bit to talk about there. Obviously back at home, still working for the spec. Talk to us how your last week's been.
Yeah, no, obviously had last week off work, which was good. I had 3 weeks on, then last week a bit of a break, so I got back down to Melbourne for the week and caught up with you boys obviously last week for the potty in person, and then had the Dregs concert at the Forum in the Smoke, so that was good fun, so now I got down there just across from Fair Square, so went down there and it was good concert. Forum Melbourne, we've been there for Spacey Jamer. Golf guy. We'll reset.
Get a grip.
Obviously, we've been at the Forum. We've been at the Forum before for the Spacey Jane. I think we all know what happened there, which was a good night. So, yeah, the Dregs, Jazz and I went down there, and I've seen them about 4 times now, I think. So, big fan of the duo. They are, and they're actually touring overseas now. So, last opportunity to see them for a bit of a while, just been obviously come back on the weekend, just working. And then since then, I've been just pumping out the paper, a few articles, and back in the sports editor's desk. So apart from that, obviously I was in Melbourne for the footy on the Saturday, taking photos of the footy. Obviously the seniors, which Hugo will touch on later, they went down agonisingly, and Connor wished he could say that. Rezzy's wasn't as close, was it? But anyway, you live and you learn, don't you?
That's a drive.
a bit of a drive.
Segue then to Connor, I guess. Obviously footy, NAIDOC week, wearing the Latrobe Guernseys. How was that, mate?
Look, pretty special occasion, really. It was good to be out there. The jumpers were designed by a former player, Harry Fry, which I never played with him, but I think a few of the boys way back did, a few of the older boys. So it was nice design and good to wear. And unfortunately, the performance didn't really match, the occasion. And we never really looked in it. I mean, they're a strong side, Richmond Central, but we never looked in it. And unfortunately, couldn't really fare too well. But I guess we fought it out, and it wasn't an improvement on last time. Which we're clutching at straws a little bit there because we got absolutely pumped last time. But it was good to be out there, and it was a special occasion nonetheless. And good day all in all. And it went well. And then that night we had the Whites night. A few of the boys got down to the club rooms, and we were wearing cricket gear and a bit of club apparel from back in the day. So Blair was there watching a bit of footy, and we were going to watch cricket, but didn't get away until probably like 2 a.m. or so. So that wrecked it a bit, but a little bit of Wimbledon as well. So good day, but that's pretty much all on my part. Yeah.
Good stuff. Guess we're getting to Hugo now. Footy as well, mate, for you. Closer result, unlike the reserves, but had footy, and how was that, mate?
Oh yeah, it would have been better if we had a different result. We were up at 3/4 time, I think, by about a goal and a half, maybe. Just under
probably like goal.
Yeah, and we had the wind in the last, and unfortunately, we had a fair few opportunities, myself included, but we just couldn't capitalise. Yeah, it was, and we went down by 5 points, which was a bit tough, but yeah, Connor didn't help on doing the scoring, then the timekeeping. He blew the siren just as one of our players, Matthew Ogle, who's probably winning our BNF and probably the best set shot at the club, took a mark 30 out directly in front, would have won the game. He would have been up by a point, and Connor decided to blow the siren as the ball's in midair to him. So make of that what you will, but seems like Connor might be playing at Richmond Central next year.
No, oh,
Yeah.
it was a tough one. I didn't that last minute really. It felt like it went forever. You know, the ball was coming out, going back in. I thought 30 seconds left. Nah, they're done, and then they went again and get it off the wheels. And I was so tempted to just blow the siren then and there, just so he didn't play on. But then as soon as he played on, I knew it was going to lapse. And yeah, beeper went off, and probably like second later, I gave it a tiny bit. Still, I didn't go boom. Gave it a tiny bit, and then went that, and then I was pretty flat. The Richmond Central bloke gave a little fist pump, but I don't think anyone else at that. Any other spectators were really happy. They didn't have too many fans there, but yeah. Anyway, it was a tough one, but the boys fought hard. Should be proud of the efforts, and I'm sure a win for both the seniors and twos are pretty close around the corner.
Yeah, well, I suppose we talk about the whole spirit of the game thing with Johnny Bairstow and that whole dismissal and everything like that. Surely, if they're bending the rules with spirit of the game, surely you would have had the decency of allowing the extra few seconds and everything like that, and probably could have saved Latrobe from relegation or something like that.
Yeah, no, I reckon.
There's still hope.
There's still hope. If we win a few more, we won't get relegated, and I really hope we don't, because we'll be a lot better for the run, and things can't really go as bad next year in terms of injury and unavailabilities. But I was never going to slump down to England's level. Obviously, those boys have got some serious issues up top, but it was I don't know. It was unfortunate how it had to end, but it was a stressful gig. Don't mean to begrudge Hasty at all, but yeah, I don't know. He made it a little bit stressful for me. So I wanted to get out there as quick as I could really, and move on. But saw him that night as well, so I couldn't really get away from him.
Yeah, definitely sounds eventful, and I guess you won't be taking care of the time for any footy games anytime soon, Connor, especially for Latrobe. But
I'll pick if Hasty's not there one week, I'll get on it. But other than that, yeah, probably not.
Yeah. What about you, Owen? You've had a fair bit going on yourself. Your footy game, obviously. Oh no, you had the bye this week.
Bye this week.
Yeah.
I had a bye this week. So didn't do much, just working on the weekend. But had a barista course the other day, which was really good. In the city, it was about a 4-hour kind of class thing. Learn how to make coffees and all that. And you obviously have to pass the test at the end. So did that comfortably. But yeah, it was really good. And if any of you boys want a coffee one day, I can make a mean one for you. So hit me up if you need one. And then just today, Connor, myself, and Hugo had a kick of the footy, which was pretty fun. Just getting around each other, kicking a few snags. And then obviously basketball as well on Sunday, which was another win for the unique individuals. We had Connor playing with us after a few weeks not being available. Blair's still unavailable, but hopefully next week maybe. Yes. I don't know, still in dispute. Hugo was away, had a family dinner. Is that right? Yeah, the old family dinner.
Yeah, with the Air City, I would say.
Fair enough. And Mansell playing as well. But I guess we handled this to Mansell. I guess how was the game? And a comfortable win at the end against the Slime. And obviously, Mansell, a few of the boys on the Slime. I think you went to school with a few.
Yeah.
But, how was the game for you, mate? And
Well, yeah, from everywhere, I pretty much it's obviously being in the local area, you're going to know a few familiar faces, whether, being that from school, from footy, from cricket. I knew probably most of the starting five there. But, it was it was a good game. I think we had a bit of a shaky start, but once we sort of, got our priorities straight in terms of working out who to pass the ball to. I think we got it done in the end. But yeah, no, I mean, it was good to get another win, and I think we're third, I believe.
Yeah, we're third.
Third now. So yeah, so so definitely definitely good display, and we've got another game this week and a few games now until September, and we'll be all right. So.
Yeah, no, we're cruising pretty well at the moment. I think we're 6 wins, 2 losses, or about that.
Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, no, doing well, and
Yeah.
hopefully we can continue our form next Sunday.
Yeah, it's obviously not ideal to have. We've had some changes to the team, but the fill-ins have done very well. I think Big Lukey scored 34, so without him, we were like. And to be fair, we set him up a few times, but there was other times where he pretty much went coast to coast. But very soon we'll have our full sort of team back together. And even though we haven't played that much in sort of a starting with our 6 players, I think we've naturally got the connection. So it's good, and it's good. It's good.
It's just good.
It's a good. It's good.
He's the man.
No, sorry, I was thinking the word good foundations for the rest of the season, and who knows, we might be able to go all the way, but it's been enjoyable just to compete out there and not be involved in too many fights the last sort of 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, it's always helpful not having fights. Before we move to sport talk now, so anything to contribute much this week, or
Nah,
really?
not really. No, it's pretty much same old week for me. Just as one of my mates coined it, it was a groundhog week for me, pretty much same old. So yeah, but Blair, I think you've got something to add to my weekend.
Yeah, not necessarily yours, man. Still, I just want to rectify my actions before, sort of, and just sort of look down and tell you about my week. Obviously in Melbourne, went to the concert, had dinner there. It was a lovely occasion, and I was just a bit broken before with the train of thought. So just been working and obviously sort of chipping away. Looking forward, missing playing basketball and stuff with you lads. So looking forward to. I can confirm I won't be able to play this week, as I have the last week of work next week. So, but after that, this game will be the last one I miss, and then I'll be back into it. So, and I wasn't there, but Connor said, I said to Connor, oh, how'd you go? And he's like, oh, Luke went beast mode. And I was like, oh, yeah. So like 15, 20, 34, fair game from the big fella. So, if I'm not there, let's just, Lukey can be a permanent part of our team if he wants. I'll take a 34 every week.
Yeah, but good stuff.
Yeah, that's all.
Sport talk then. I'd love to talk about obviously cricket and footy, the main 2. So we'll get straight into it.
Yeah, well, firstly, I've actually got some mail on the Ashes. I've got a few mates that are over there at the moment, and I had one sent me this bit of mail from just this afternoon. It's like, have you started the pod yet? I said, no, we're about to, but it's like, okay, cool. I've got some news, and apparently it involves the England cricket team and a bit of their off-field antics. So as my mates stayed in the same hotel with some of the England cricket players, and except for a couple of the locals there, in Johnny Bairstow, Harry Brook, they live nearby, so they didn't stay with the team, but they went to day 4 finished and all that stuff, and the team's back at the hotel, obviously celebrating their win, and one of the 2, Harry Brook, he decides to come in, and about 9 o'clock, and mate's having dinner. He sees him off his head and in his full-on cricket whites at 9 o'clock at night, and my mate sent me a message. He's like, "Oh, surely that's a finable offence. If ever I've seen one, still in your cricket whites at that time, absolutely, gone." But I just want to get your thoughts on it, boys. What are your thoughts on the antics? I suppose. Where you've got a bit of a mysterious look on your face. Something to ponder.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, my thoughts exactly are, I don't know about you boys, but I've been there. And have I been there once or twice or more? I've been there more. There has been many occasions where I've sunk a lot of raspberries, soft drinks, in the cricket whites. So look, I don't think that's look, it's probably not great at the professional level. It's probably more of a sort of C, D grade Hamilton District comp, but whatever sort of floats Harry Brooks' boat. But yeah, look, he's part of the England cricket team, so we don't really like him. But I have been there though. You know,
So
at least he got some runs.
yeah, so I suppose to follow up with another question. Would you sort of liken him to going the full on, the full on true blue Aussie way about things and being an Aussie at heart, but having to play for the Poms? It's just we just disregard him in that sense.
Yeah, well, maybe he's best on after the game. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know what else to say about the bloke really. Before I get too candid with it, anyone else want to take over?
No, I think it's a bit of carry on, really. I mean, we have all been there, but like they've won one test, and I think Pat Cummins described it pretty well. One of the journalists reporters said, "Do you think the momentum's changed? Are you worried that England are on top now?" And he said, "No, not really." And they're like, "Why is that?" And he's like, 2-1. So, we're still in front. Yeah, and I don't think we played great cricket. We didn't really get the conditions in our favour when we were batting. A lot went right for England in that sense, not much for Australia, and they won 7 down. So I think there's silver lining in that. I think they'll come back bigger and better, and there's only a matter of time before Marnus gets some runs. And Smithy's made 100, but I think he's got another one in him for sure.
No, you summed it up well there. Like it was, I think the word for it would be like a bit of a weird test. I mean, there was a lot of rain delay, but still finished up, relatively early. But I guess, there weren't really too many standout performances other than Mitchell Marsh, which I guess brings me to my question to you boys would be, do you think Mitchell Marsh keeps his spot and Cam Green misses out? And obviously, Cummins and Stark have been the pick of the bowlers for Australia, but Boland has struggled to really pick up wickets. I mean, he hasn't been bowling too bad, but just hasn't been a damaging bowler. Do you think someone could replace him in the third or fourth test?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've sort of had this theory at the moment. Obviously, yes, Mitch Marsh has had, he had a pretty good first innings, a run and ball century pretty much. And, the way that I sort of see that is, I think David Warner's been given too many chances. Like he's just, his head's just pretty much been on a swivel when he's facing Stuart Broad. So I honestly reckon now it's time to make the move to promote Travis Head as opener. Put him at one with Usman Khawaja, and then that's what opens your spot for Mitch Marsh. Cam Green comes in at 6, and you have Mitch Marsh at 5, and I feel you have another bowling option, but you also have that batting attack of Mitch Marsh, who's able to do what Travis Head has been doing, over the last, 12 to 18 months at 5. And but then to answer your question about Scott Boland, I mean, it's obviously got to be a hard series for the bowlers in terms of the rest and everything like that. But 9-day break, Stark and Cummins pretty much stay in that side. And yeah, I would agree that it's time for Boland to probably go.
And I guess if it's time for Boland to go, do you think Michael Neese is the man to replace him?
Well, I think Hazelwood is logically the one who'd come in and replace Boland. They're both a similar type of bowler, hit that length and sort of stay there, sort of Glenn McGrath-like. And I reckon Hazelwood, I'm not sure if he was dropped or he was injured or...
He was dropped.
Yeah, I think it's all part of that rotation, nonetheless. Anyway, but
yeah, a bit stiff. I reckon a bit stiff if he was dropped. But my thoughts are the exact same as Mansell, really. But I think make the same moves that Mansell said. But if they win this test, I think Pat Cummins probably sits out the last one, and then Boland or Nisa will play again. But yeah, I don't know. Like Scotty Boland, you almost thought he was invincible there for a bit because having such a remarkable start to his test career. But he's not bowling at his best. He's certainly not bowling terribly, but I think just the way England are playing and with the combination of sort of the wickets and like how they've played, has not allowed him to just really hone in on line and length and be really consistent for longer periods of time. But I still think against any other opposition and still against England, he could turn it on, but any other opposition, I think he could absolutely destroy him, but hasn't panned out for him. But yeah, we definitely should have bowled Todd Murphy a lot more overs, especially before the margin got to, not many runs needed and there wasn't much room for error. But I actually think Todd Murphy's pretty good bowler, bowled very well in India. So yeah.
Before we get to you, Blair, I did come across this stat about Scotty Boland in terms of his Ashes bowling averages, and in Australia his bowling average is 9.55 in the Ashes, but then playing in England 115.5. So that just shows the difference, and I suppose the impact of Bazball then in that case. But yeah. Anything to add, Blair?
Yeah, just on the Marsh thing. Look, I agree with you in the fact that maybe David Warner doesn't deserve another chance, but I also think he will stay in the side. I mean, he hit 4 and 1 or something, like, it's very average. Stuart Broad's just walking him on the leash, but he probably will stay in, I think. And I think Mitch Marsh, there's a fair case to keep him in over Cam Green. Look, obviously the heroics there, and then obviously second innings 28 as well. He sort of dug in a little bit and didn't just go down straight away. And I looked as well, and if we look, like Cam Green's been, I think it's fair to say, he's really struggled with the bat probably for a number of months now, and hasn't really looked like close to, he probably hasn't made many 28s, let alone 100 centuries. So then you look at Mitch Marsh as well, and he removed Crawley in both innings, just bowling 9 overs for the test, but he took 2 for 30 odd. So Mitch Marsh's bowling is probably a little bit underrated as well. So look, I'd actually like to see him. Like, I think we give him a lot of chances, but he took this one and he kept us really, like, think about if he wasn't playing as well as he did, we're nowhere near that, winning that test. Like, in the end, it wasn't much in it, but without him, we probably get pumped by a bit. So I'd like to see him stay in. But yeah, I'd love to see. It's hard with the opening spot, really, because Warner probably, if there was somebody that could come in and people would back to maybe do a better job, then yeah. Like, I saw a stat during the week, it said Warner, his average is like 26 or something over there in the Ashes or whatever. And then it said that Marcus Harris, who's probably another option, his is 9, his batting average over there. So you don't have a lot of choices, really. So
yeah, I suppose it's one of those ones, is like, do you rejig it or do you keep it the same? But I think also it depends on the fitness of Cam Green, because he was injured. That's why he was left out of the side for the third test. But hopefully with the 9-day break, he decides to come back in. But yeah, anyway.
I've heard he's a certain starter, Cam Green. Like, he was bowling on day 4. Before day 4, he was bowling in the net. So I don't think he really had too much wrong. I think it was pretty 50-50 to play in that test just gone. But yeah, the fact that Warner's getting out early, it's probably not helping Marnus either, because he's coming in facing the newer ball, and I reckon it's no secret why he hasn't made too many runs. But he's looked good. He just he finds a way to get himself out, and some quite silly dismissals, him and Smith, that last test. But yeah.
Well, obviously as well, if we flip the coin, England had some changes in that test, and they proved to be effective. Mark Wood, player of the match and bowling absolute heat. I think in the first innings he didn't drop below 85 miles an hour for his first spell or something, and which is absolute express. Some of us aspire to do that, but don't get there. And then Chris Wokes as well was there hitting the winning runs. Was able to do it with the ball as well. I suppose the question to you boys is, how do they line up for the fourth test? I mean, Me personally, I'd like to see Ollie Robinson dropped. I think the rest of Australia probably would. But I reckon Josh Tongue was arguably their best bowler in the second test, besides Stuart Broad. Does he make his way back in the side? What do we see from here?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'd say I'd keep the same bowling lineup as what they had for the test just gone. I think, all bowlers got about 2 or 3 wickets each in each innings. So, I think I've always thought Chris Wokes, is pretty much an all-rounder for England. He's very good with the bat as well. So, yeah, Wokes, Woods, provides that good pace consistently. Broad stays in there as usual. If you want to play spinner, you'd probably stick with Mo and Ali. But if you want another paceman, then Josh Tongue for sure, because I thought he was harsh to get dropped for the last test match. But I think Ollie Robinson, even if he's slightly hurt or just not quite 100%, then he probably has to go because the other bowlers that I've just mentioned are, in my opinion, better than him. So, pretty simple, really.
Yeah, no wickets for the test, didn't bowl second innings. So, so he obviously didn't perform too well, and he's always a bit injury prone. I don't think, with all due respect, I don't think he's the fittest cricketer out there. The same thing was happening in Australia. But his overall statistics are pretty good in Test cricket. But I don't know, they're kind of imploding a little bit after this series. He's not
since he
bad either at the moment, not making many runs.
Yeah, since he gave the send off, I think he probably sent his own career off. I think so. I don't know if we'll be seeing a lot more of Ollie Robinson if the England selectors actually use a bit of common sense. I mean, Tongue was making the ball talk. Bowled some absolute cracking balls in that other test, and he has to be. If you ask any Australian batsman, who are you more threatened by when they're bowling, Ollie Robinson or Tongue? I think they're not going to say they're that worried about old mate Robbo. So I think he should have a send off.
I think Hugo, our man in 3, could send him for 26 and over. You reckon?
Well, that brings up bad memories of some bloke for 26 and over. Well, we'll move on from that. But I'm a bit different, I think, from the rest of Australia. I would like to see Ollie Robinson stay in because I said last week, and I stand by it. I hope England lose off a man cad. But on the flip side, if we are batting, I'd love to smoke a 6 against Ollie Robinson and have that. That's how we win the Ashes. I think that would be quite satisfying.
Yeah.
And sort of end his career.
Yeah. No, I'm not opposed to that either. I mean, if he's not performing too good, we can probably smack him everywhere. And hopefully Mitch Marsh, Trav Head, and the boys, if he is in, can smack him everywhere. But Josh Tongue, not really sure why he got dropped. He made a few runs in that second innings as well. I don't think he's the best batter, but he bowls a lot quicker than Ollie Robinson, and he still gets it to move. So you do the same thing, but 20k is quicker than Ollie Robinson. So
Anyway, let's move on to a sport that is on this side of the globe and not over there. But let's move to the AFL and big week of football, round 17 action. We've some close results in there, but also some smashings in there. But let's start off with GWS and Hawthorn. And the question now that's doing the rounds is, are GWS a finals chance? Owen, we'll start off with you.
Yeah, it's interesting because you look at their team and you think they're not even that bad. I mean, they've got quite a few experienced players in there who have played finals before and were obviously in that 2019 grand final. But look, I think they can be a threat coming to September, and if they keep winning these games, against Melbourne and some of the better teams, then they do have a genuine chance. But I just can't see them fitting into my top 8 by the end of the season. But I think teams in the top 8, if they have them, from now to the end of the season, not treat the game like it's going to be an easy win because they're playing some good footy and it'll be interesting to see though.
I mean, I'm still with Owen. I don't think they'll make the top 8, but they're doing everything right. They're giving themselves the best chance possible of making the 8. which is all you want really. And they're still a young leash, so it's really good signs for the future for the Giants. And Cornelio's had a really good year. He's bounced back from the last 2 or 3 years. I think he hasn't had great since he signed that contract. So it's good to see him get back into some form, and Giants are going all right.
Yeah, statistically speaking, he's putting together some career best numbers as well, just quietly. Yeah, well, Ronda, your thoughts on the same?
They've been pretty impressive, really. Like well coached by Adam Kingsley, coming from the Tigers, but and Saints beforehand. But it seems to only have helped the development of a few players, having lost Torano Hopper. I mean, like Tom Green, incredible footballer, really. Yeah, and he's racking up good numbers. I don't really know if any team outside the 8 can get in. Geelong are 8th, but their percentage is a fair bit better than I think the Western Bulldogs and St Kilda. So if anyone drops out, if anyone can, it might be like St Kilda or Western Bulldogs. But I don't know, their seasons have probably been too good to actually drop out. And a team like Richmond, unfortunately, even if we're going to have to win like more game, like one extra game than our competitors, because we got pumped by Brisbane and our percentage is pretty bad. But yeah, hopefully we start building on that this week against West Coast. But
Giants, just Ronda, you done, mate? Or
I don't think Giants will make it, but they're impressive. Yeah, sorry.
no, you're right, Jam. On the Giants,
He's done him.
I knew he'd do it too. Sick.
On the Giants, last 4 they've won in a row. Look, I don't know if I'd say they're going to play finals at the moment, but after this weekend, if you ask me again, if they knock off Adelaide over there, Adelaide's sitting in the spot in front of them, then I'll start to talk to you about it, because I think it's a big game between Adelaide and Giants this week coming, and if Giants can win the 5th in a row and knock off Adelaide, who have been having a crack despite losing 3 of their last 5, I think then Giants, they're not far off at all, and definitely putting pressure on that sort of bottom half of the 8, no doubt.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm going to talk about when you boys to talk about the next 2 games sort of in conjunction with each other, but they come after some comments that Hugo made last week, and they revolve around the Essendon Football Club, and I quote, you called them a basket case. You thought, you hope that it stings them and it costs them finals. Now they've gone on to beat Adelaide by 18 points, which puts them up to 5th, which means after St Kilda's loss to Melbourne on Saturday night, has pushed St Kilda into 6th. And now, they're the ones that the script has been flipped. I suppose, you've copped some hate. I suppose time for you to return to it.
Oh, well, it's round 17. Let's just take a deep breath. They're still a basket case. And I'm not saying the players or Brad Scott are a basket case, but I'm saying the club itself, its board and its directors have been a basket case, and there's no new evidence to suggest otherwise. They could still miss finals. They beat Adelaide and Melbourne, and has Adelaide won away from the Adelaide Oval yet this year? Probably only 1 or 2 games tops.
Yeah.
They've been pretty ordinary away from home, so it's not a massive win. I still don't think they're going to make the 8, but they are playing well, to give credit where credit's due, which pains me to say. But I still hope it stings them, that loss, and that will be a loss I will remind many of my Essendon friends of for years and years to come. And look, and on St Kilda losing, I see it says on the run sheet, St Kilda done. That's a bunch of waffle, honestly. Seriously, give me a spell. We fought well. We only had 2 on the bench in the end before half time, even before quarter time, I think. It was pretty grim on the injury front. Losing Maxi doesn't help for the rest of the year, but Cameron Adams played well this year. Machado Owens has been unreal as a key forward, and a couple of things didn't go our way. Machado bounced the ball in the last quarter of the 3rd quarter. That gave
You're telling the story on it.
flashbacks.
Bounce of the balls don't often go your way, unfortunately. But yeah,
Still opponent in the top of the post, you know, just small things. We were right in that game, and to be honest, like we haven't been great for the last month, but that's the happiest I've been with secure performance for the last month or two. We really showed some fight, and to be honest, I think we're on the way back up after that performance. I've got some faith in the boys.
Well, now that King is out, and I don't know how long Seb Ross is out, but okay. But now that you've got a few injuries, and obviously King's your big one, out for the rest of the season, and this last month or two, Saints they've been performing, but you've been able to see they're dying a bit. They're slowly going downhill. You know, they're going from 5th to 6th. Now they're at 6th. And you know things are getting
but
been like pre-thought season.
But they're on the edge a bit. Like they haven't
are.
the games that they've won, they haven't played particularly well in the last 2 months.
Point being, I wrote, are the Saints done? Meaning that now you've got Max King, your best forward out for the rest of the season. Where are these goals gonna come from? Where are the Saints gonna start? How are you gonna improve from where you are now without King?
I mean, we saw at the start of the year without Max King for the first 9 weeks, and it was probably our best period of footy. Not saying Max is the problem or anything.
Maybe
no, he's
upset
not,
the apple cart potentially.
No, it just causes us to be a bit more unpredictable going forward, and we are forced not to go long and bomb it in, but to actually put it on his head, and not put it on his head, but to lower the eyes and stuff. And yeah, I think the big thing that we're overseeing is we got Zach Jones back, and what he does for St Kilda's midfield group is very underrated.
There is one thing I do want to say though. I think you've sort of sheltered yourself away from it. You know, when Connor was saying stuff about St Kilda, you know, he had to make an apology to your dad for some of the comments that he said. You know, now that Essendon have won this game, and fair to say that you know, Blair, Connor boys, your mum wasn't too pleased with what Hugo said. You know, I suppose Hugo, have you got an apology for Glenda on behalf of yourself and your antics?
Look, I do apologise to Glenda and her specifically. You know, there's always one who's an exception to the rule, and I think she is an exception to the rule. But I'll make no apology to any other Carlton Essendon supporter. I am no coward like Ronda. I will not step down.
I apologise to your family. I had issues back then, but me and Greg are, best of mates now. So
Accepted under the same roof as her right now. I'll accept that.
Yeah.
On the Saints, I mean, I just want to say one quick thing. The Saints done. I wouldn't go that far. But also, and this is just a side note, lots of Essendon fans, Glenda exception again, lots of other Essendon fans who you haven't apologised to, I think they want to sort of probably knock the Saints out of the finals if you both make it the same way you want Ollie Robinson to lose in the Ashes. Probably, a bit of a kick after the sign vibe. But no, the Saints next few weeks, look, they should get it back on track. They have they've got Gold Coast this week, which is a bit of a nervous one. Because the sacking of the coach, clubs always come out and perform, but then the Saints have Hawks, which you probably just have to turn up. And then you got Carlton again, probably have to turn up.
Well, they lost to Hawthorn. Just remember that.
You don't need to do that.
yeah, they did. So
But all I'll say is if Saints don't do their groundwork over the next couple of weeks, you'll finish off with, I think you've got Brisbane and Geelong to finish, which is tough with the sort of, no Max King, which I do stand by my call. That is karma. That is karma in the worst way, and I'm not happy with it, but it is.
That's not karma.
I think it may be, but anyway, we can move on.
Well, another team vying for finals. The Blues have won 4 of their last 5 as well, with another big win, 53 points they one bye against Freo on Sunday twilight. But let's get into the next round of action, shall we? And all kicks off Thursday night with the Swans and the Bulldogs in Sydney, followed by Friday night, the D's and the Lions in a top 4 clash. Collingwood take on Freo on Saturday afternoon. Then we've got Gold Coast St Kilda, Carlton, Port Adelaide, and Geelong and Essendon rounded out on Saturday night, followed by the games on Sunday, Adelaide GWS, North Melbourne and Hawthorn, and West Coast and Richmond. And the man on my left, Ronda, you start off.
Yeah, all right. Seems a bit weird to say considering they're 15th, but I think the Swans have sort of got their DNA back a little bit ever since that big win, and I actually reckon they'll knock off the Doggies and hand Doggies a little bit of a finals blow. Yeah, so they'll get up. Brisbane, I reckon, will finally win at the G against.
Well, they beat them there last year in the semi-final.
I know, but that's it. What you're holding me up, man. But that's it. That'll be what. That'll be one of their few wins, mate. One of their few wins. They don't win in Melbourne often. Collingwood beat Fremantle. I'm going to go Gold Coast over St Kilda just because of the coaching change, and Saints are mentally fragile. Port Adelaide will humble Carlton. Geelong will beat Essendon. Essendon never go down to Geelong. The Crom to beat GWS. North Melbourne will get a win over Hawthorn. They've been working hard. And Richmond will do it easily over the depleted West Coast Eagles.
Blair, your tips, please and thank you.
Yes, Sydney Swans will defeat the Western Bulldogs on Thursday night.
Up
The D's, I tip them all the time. I feel like they lose on me all the time, but I'm going to tip them again against Brisbane. Pies will murder a piss weak Fremantle side. Gold Coast, there's a bit of money coming in for this one, and I'm buying into it. Bailey Humphrey to kick 2 and have 20, and Will Power to get about 8 rebound 50s. Gold Coast get it done at Sainers. Port Adelaide make it 14 in a row against Carlton, something like ridiculous. Geelong to beat Essendon, Adelaide to beat the Giants, Hawthorn to beat North. And if Tigers don't beat West Coast, check on my welfare.
Yeah, Hugo.
I'll go the Swannies over the Dogs. Melbourne over the D's. No,
And Blair is loving it.
That is a late episode classic, and he probably would not have even realised if Owen didn't say it. Such is this guy's mental state.
Hollywood over Fremantle. St Kilda over Gold Coast. Port Adelaide over Carlton. Geelong over Essendon. Adelaide over Giants. Hawthorn over North Melbourne, and Tigers over West Coast.
Why wouldn't you just pick Richmond to win over the Tigers?
You would have did.
Give up therapy.
Owen, barring any stuff ups, we'll be able to get through this one.
Well, I'm going to tip properly here because I got a pretty good lead on you boys.
He's a sweat. You don't need to.
I swear, I just think logically.
What did you get last week?
Let's say, Doggies over Swans, the D's over the Lions, Collingwood over Freo, Gold Coast over Saints, Port over Carlton, Geelong over Essendon, Adelaide over GWS, Hawthorn over North, and Richmond over West Coast. Bang!
There we go. Got it done without any stuff ups. That's how it's done. Here you go. All right. Obviously, Connor is jabbing, thinking he's a boxer. But anyway, boys, let's get into some SuperCoach and
there has been a lot going on SuperCoach recently. And if people haven't followed it, we might put on the socials just to give everyone an update. But most of them, what most people think. This week I've got Hugo, and Hugo is only 4 points away from the top. There's a game in it. So this week against Hugo and I is a big one. Blair beat me in last week's matchup by 20 points or so. he's pretty happy about that. But I do want to raise something with you, Blair. Your percentage is identical to Connor's, and you've won about 6 more than him.
Says it.
Is that a worrying sign for you coming in the finals?
I mean, look, if I'm playing you, no, because I generally beat you. It's mainly the worry is, look, it's no worry. The reality is that Connor didn't tell me that week that I had a very significant number of players out due to the buys, and I played with about 6 blokes. So that's going to hit your percentage, and it did, and that's probably one of his best scores. And look, I don't know. That's as bad as it gets. 650. So look, that's hit my percentage that one costly week, but hopefully bounce back, and so I should be right.
Yeah, well,
Right. Yeah.
fair enough.
And obviously, before I get into you, Connor, because you want a lot of mic time. Hugo,
Mike. Microphone. You're trying to get him and you don't even know what you're talking about.
a lot of doubters early on in the season, but you're 1 win away from top spot. I guess your preparation going into this week's match up against me.
Yeah, I'll do the same preparation as usual. I'll look about 2 minutes before.
Well, it's a Thursday night game, so you might want to check it earlier.
Well, I mean, just goes to show how much of an indictment it is on you boys that I'm second. And, you know, I haven't hardly checked.
It's one of the flukiest years you'll ever see.
Oh,
Feel like St Kilda 2010.
no. Don't start.
It wasn't.
He's gonna actually.
I'm just going to move out of the way.
Wasn't fluky, just unlucky. But I'd like to just have a little rant about SuperCoach and why I didn't win against.
Of course, the weekly rant.
Oh, well.
Seven.
Nick Blakey, ever since he signed 8 or 9 year deal, whatever, he rolled his ankle like 10 minutes after he signed the deal, and then he gets 41. Like, you're a running half back. You get the ball for fun. You don't have to work hard to get the footy. He doesn't have to work hard to get the footy. They just give it to him, and you get 41. So he's obviously not got much of the ball and can't live up to expectation, and will burn out and will not see out his contract, unfortunately. Brennan Cox, 65. I mean, 1 week you get 10 intercept marks. The next week you can't get a kick. So, like, what are you doing? What are Fremantle doing? They're a bunch of flogs, really. And, a massive reason why it's cost me. Mason Wood, 83. Got to be better. I know you've had a good year. But
he's like the Saints. Every week he's slowly going down.
Exactly.
Winger.
Exactly. He's not.
He was all Australian winger in the first 3.
The only gap in his career where he's not injured, insipid still. Insipid still on the weekend. Insipid still. We can go on for days. Kyle Langford, a man that he's done pretty well this year, but 75? 75 in a good win, a shootout at Marvel when you score about 118, you should be kicking 5 that day. So, real issues for me, and unfortunately, Maxi Gawn. I'm going to finish on Maxi Gawn.
Just dominated by Rowan Marshall.
He was one of the best ruckmen 2 or 3 years ago. Now he just doesn't get out of first gear. Gets 84 for me. I mean, you should be able to get 84 without getting a kick just from the amount of hitouts that he gets. But massive reason why Melbourne are no good anymore. And a bit irrelevant. But Gawney, probably time for the beard to go and something to change to try to get a bit of form back, mate. But I don't know. Look after yourself, and hopefully you can perform a bit better than what you did on the weekend and the last month or two, really, because it's fairly insipid, mate. And you probably shouldn't be captain of that football club anymore, if we're being honest. If you're chucking up 84s and averaging 93.1, he's great for morale, great bloke, but he's been focusing too much on, his jokes, his antics off field, and it's really affected him on the field. And unfortunately, him and Grundy, it hasn't really worked, and both players, I don't know who's worse. They're as insipid as each other. So we'll finish there, but I'd expect a lift out of Gawney this week. After such terrible display.
What?
Yeah, just quickly on the SuperCoach, I just crunched the numbers as you tend to do, Mansell, and Oh, and head to head, you and myself, 4-1 my way, and I've had 8 wins for the season, half against you. So
Yeah. No,
yeah,
well,
what do you have to say?
I kind of, but Josh Kelly got tagged, 23 points. Liver, 75. Trelaw, 52. You know, they should be getting 100 plus every week. That's what they're averaging. So, look, that cost me. Just inconsistency from some players. Sicily's not back. When's he back? Is he injured? Like, I know he got.
He's been suspended for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know. Is this the week now? He's back?
One more, maybe.
I think this is the last one, and then
This is the longest 3 weeks ever. Anyway.
He cops it because he is a flog.
Yeah.
So he cops it by the
He's
end.
a flog, but he should have not got 3 weeks for that.
No, he shouldn't have. You feel sorry for him
Yeah,
in that
Coach
moment.
is fine now.
But it's kind of funny at the same time.
Point is that, yeah, good on you, Blair, but still not finals yet. So, but I guess that gives you a bit of confidence going in. But good on you, mate.
Yeah, well, just a little bit of confidence because, I mean, obviously you didn't have things that went your way. I'm still nursing an injured Clayton Oliver after about 2 decades, who, because I've been working at spec, I haven't really been up with it. Clayton Oliver was in my midfield on the weekend. Obviously didn't get many points for him. Jaden Short was in there. Jeremy Cameron in my forward line. And Chad Warner didn't play. I don't know what's wrong with him. So, yeah. I need to switch on a bit, though, if I'm actually going to start getting a bit of percentage back.
Cam Warner's injured too, I believe. So
Yeah.
Jeremy Cameron, when's he back?
Next week.
Yeah, but if you got those players in your side and you didn't check it, it's kind of your fault. So, you got to be better, really.
And I write articles for a living, not wash dishes, so I've been busy.
I don't do any more. That's in my past.
I'll just quickly finish what I was saying before I started really interrupted by Connor there. But
I can't be part.
yeah,
Conda.
yeah, Connor. I hope me at this episode. I'm got the best percentage in the competition now in the SuperCoach. And still the best. And then I'm only 1 win behind Owen at the top of the ladder. So I remember draft night, and there is video evidence of some of this stuff. Jackson, in fact, asked me if I was going to take it seriously after a couple of my first picks. I was laughed at and I was mocked. And I destroyed you boys. Each and every one of you. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, you're not even first on the ladder, so you can't say you've destroyed everyone. Maybe myself, but
You won 3 games for the year. 3.
yeah. Well, I've had a tough run. When you face adversity, it continues, mate. It's sort of tough to get out of the rut,
Just be better. Have better picks.
Yeah, why don't you negotiate a few trades, you tight asses?
I'm not dumb.
Yeah, well, you didn't give me any chance.
Yeah, we're not going to give you charity, mate.
I don't want charity. I just want a fair negotiation. Something to help you and to help me.
Charity, mate. You wanted charity.
Come on, there's a bit in it for both of us. Let's negotiate better. But I've given up.
You said that every week. And
No,
then,
but
after 1 week, I'm back.
No, I don't. I wouldn't say I'm back, or I didn't. If I'd say it, I don't mean it with any real feeling. But it's this season. You might as well just give up on it for Richmond.
But again, you're
Super
in finals. So.
I'm playing finals, but look, it's unfortunately just making up the numbers really, and I almost feel deeply shamed to be in the finals. The fact that you can perform so poorly, and luck says you do better than what I have. I think if I was playing against 4-year-old kids that didn't know how to work a computer, they'd knock me off in SuperCoach, and I might be a bit of salt into the wound. So I didn't.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Nah, let's
I said playing against. I didn't say playing with. You know what I mean? But mate, I rest my case, and I'm probably going to need a good look.
A 4-year-old kid would actually be able to pick a player and not go to auto pick. So maybe that's accurate.
Well, their head wouldn't get out of the desk, but yeah, you're probably right.
Yours doesn't either, mate.
It just explains it.
Yeah, I'm all right with a booster seat. So
I just see a little bald head under the table.
little round head. Anyway, Well, there's still hope deep down, but it's not real. It's not much hope. Like it's just there's no real hope in my life at the moment. But anyway,
Therapy.
we move on. I'm enjoying the back pocket about a podcast and unique individuals, but other than that, I don't have too many things going for me.
This
Thank
is a
you.
cry for help.
Well, boys, it's been a good episode. Good to have all the boys joining me once again. Good to have Blair virtually with us. We'll be back next week. Make sure to keep tuned. Thank you to all the listeners out there. Make sure to keep on top of the socials, around us, and